Hey there, welcome back to Shadow House The Gathering. Today I'm going to be reading chapters 17 and 18. Yesterday, we followed Marcus and Azumi to the dining hall, and Marcus suddenly gave in to that song he'd been hearing this whole time and started playing on the piano. And while he was playing, Azumi heard her sister calling that had disappeared in that Japanese forest, and then Azumi just followed the voice and kind of disappeared herself. And then Poppy was searching through the office and found some interesting things going on that maybe Larkspur House was an orphanage years ago. And then she came upon a girl in a cat mask who was reading Hansel and Gretel to some dolls. So definitely some strange things happening here, and I'm ready to get started. Let's begin. Chapter 17. All of the desks and cabinets, the folders and files that Poppy had just searched, erupted into flame. The fire climbed the walls, turning the wallpaper black and the paintings crisp and crackling. In the furious heat, the black cloth that had covered the tallest frame rose up in a hot gust and then slid to the floor, where the fire devoured it, revealing an enormous mirror. Poppy briefly thought of the girl right before the mirror's glass fractured with a crack as loud as a gunshot, creating a spiderweb of breaks that stretched across its tarnished surface. For a moment, Poppy knew she had to be imagining everything. There is no fire, she thought. There is no cat girl. This is all in your head. You really are crazy. They're going to lock you in a dark room forever and ever. No friends, no family, no mirrors or books, just you and your stupid, crazy brain. Then something grabbed hold of her hair and yanked. Poppy fell backward with a scream and landed on the floor. The cat-faced girl stared down at her. Above the crackling of the flames, it sounded as if she was laughing. This was real. Poppy scrambled away and leapt to her feet. The blaze was closing in on the two of them. "What are you doing?" Poppy yelled at the cat-faced girl. Poppy ran across the room, leaping over small licks of flame, but when she yanked on the knob, the door wouldn't budge. "No!" she screamed. "Help!" Smoke obscured the room behind her, shrouding the cat-faced girl in swirling gray. Fire swelled into the room, and the heat grew stronger. Poppy struggled to inhale, but the heat seared her throat, and she choked. Out of nowhere, Miss Tate blinked into her head, standing before the girls in the common area at Thursday's Hope, instructing them on what to do in case of a fire. Get low to the ground to avoid the smoke. Poppy dropped to her knees, covering her mouth. Know your closest exits. Exits. Poppy forced herself to think. There was a window next to the broken mirror. The red velvet curtain was roaring with flames, but the glass was clear. Poppy grabbed the metal chair at the desk. It was hot to the touch, but she gritted her teeth against the pain. She raised it above her head and threw it as hard as she could at the window. A perfect shot, but to her horror, the chair simply bounced away. "Dylan!" she screamed, coughing, sweat running down her face and neck, drenching her t-shirt. "Marcus! Azumi! Help me!" The fire was so loud now, the blood pounding so hard in her eardrums that even if any of them answered, she wouldn't hear them. The smoke across the room seemed to part like a veil. A figure stepped into the flames, the girl in the cat mask. Poppy froze, unsure again if her eyes were playing tricks. The fire seemed to dance around the cat girl. The girl walked slowly forward, clutching her collection of monstrous dolls and staring at Poppy with malice. "You don't scare me!" Poppy shouted. She hated that her voice sounded so trembling and weak. The girl tilted her head as if to ask, "Don't I?" She glided slowly through the growing flames toward the spot where Poppy crouched. "You came. You actually came." The wallpaper beneath the sketch of the masked five was bubbling. Smoke and steam billowed out from the seams, and Poppy gagged at the fumes. The fire was inside the wall now. Soon it would rush to the upper and lower floors. Poppy knew the entire structure could collapse. Know your closest exits. A fierce anger filled her, the same anger that had made her search for her file in Miss Tate's office. If there's no way out, make one. Poppy stared into the shattered mirror. Her reflection was a fractured, frightening mess, but it wasn't her reflection she was looking for. "You were trying to warn me not to come here," she yelled to the girl, her girl, Poppy's voice barely audible over the roar of the fire. "I'm sorry I didn't listen, but please, please, if you can hear me, help me." The cat girl was now only a few steps away. She held out her dolls as if to taunt Poppy with what was about to happen. "If there's no way out, make one." A slight flicker moved inside the broken mirror. The girl! She'd come! The mirror fractured again. A horizontal line broke through the web pattern over Poppy's reflection. Then two more cracks formed on either side of Poppy's face. Turning around, Poppy saw the fissures cracking through the wall she was huddled against. The cracks in the mirror were duplicating themselves on the wall behind her. The girl in the cat mask howled as Poppy slammed her weight against the wall. When Poppy drew back and hit it with her shoulder again, the wall swung open like a gate. A moment later, Poppy had collapsed out into the hallway. Inside the burning room, the mirror exploded, shards of broken glass hurtling into the fire. The passage through the wall disappeared with a blink, and Poppy found herself staring at an unblemished hallway. Poppy leaned back, gasping for breath. She closed her eyes, then opened them and looked again. Nothing, and no burns on her, no hint of smoke. Crazy Poppy. Slamming her palms against the wall behind her, Poppy shoved the taunting voices away, but that only left her with her own voice ringing in her head, and she didn't know if she liked that any better. This is all a lie. The letter, the invitation, Great Aunt Delphinia. Something had wanted Poppy to come to Larkspur, but it hadn't been some long-lost family member. This place wasn't going to be her home. No one here was going to accept her, love her, adopt her. She fought against the rising flood of tears, her eyes red and prickling. Poppy felt like one of the dolls that the girl in the cat mask had been telling a story to, the one that had been gutted, its stuffing removed. She struggled to stay on her feet and angrily wiped her face clean. Then Poppy heard the sound of footsteps racing toward her. Chapter 18. Poppy faced the footsteps, swinging her satchel from her shoulder and holding it hard in her hands like a weapon, until she saw the face of the person rushing toward her. She was so relieved, she nearly dropped her bag. "Dylan!" she cried out. "Nope," said the boy, "but close." His eyes were wide and his chest was heaving. "Dash, what are you doing up here?" "Where's my brother?" Dash looked almost as scared as she felt. "We decided to split up." She glanced over her shoulder toward the office door. "We need to find the others and then get out of here." "You saw something too?" Nodding, Poppy fought tears. "This is all a lie." "I was waiting in the foyer," said Dash, "just like Dylan told me to, but I heard a noise. When I turned, I saw that kid in the rabbit mask watching me from the top of the stairs. He ran off, so I followed him up here." "I don't know what's going on." Poppy couldn't hold back. "I was in an office. There was a fire. A girl in a cat mask attacked me. I thought she was going to kill me. I ran, but the door was locked, and the window wouldn't break, but the wall. The fire went out, which makes no sense, and we have to go." She shifted past him, waving for him to follow. "We have to find the others and go." "Not that way," he said. "What do you mean?" She heard her voice rising. "The stairs are just down the hall." Dash turned his head to show her the nasty welt on his cheek. Poppy hissed in shock and sympathy. "The kid I followed attacked me too. I managed to pull off his mask." Dash trembled and briefly closed his eyes. There was black goo spilling out of his mouth and down his neck. He was soaked with it. He swallowed. I don't think we should go back that way." Poppy met his eyes gravely. "The stairs are back that way. I haven't seen another way out." Dash peered past her into the darkness stretching down the hallway behind her. "Fine, but if we come across another one of those kids wearing masks, I hope you know how to fight." "I'm learning," said Poppy, leading the way, relieved to finally put some distance between herself and that office. Moments later, not far down the hall, they came upon the rabbit mask lying on the floor, lit by sunlight from an open doorway. It wasn't anything elaborate, just a thin sheet of plastic that had been pressed by a mold at a factory somewhere. But the eyes were wide and dark, their edges marked with deep laugh lines. In the pale light from the nearby doorway, they looked hollow, black. The mouth was stretched in a wide and grotesque smile, with a tiny slit cut in the plastic so its wearer could breathe. There were dried black flecks spattered around the small hole. "You sure you want to touch that?" Poppy asked as Dash reached for it. Dash glanced at her. "We can't just leave it here. The others won't believe my story." Poppy understood what he'd meant. "Dylan won't believe my story." Dash turned the mask over. The bottom half was dripping with black goo. Poppy gasped and covered her mouth. "Ugh! Nasty!" "Never mind," Dash said, and dropped it, wiping his hands on his shorts. Poppy noticed red markings on the inside of the mask, higher up, closer to the rabbit's left ear. Block letters in red marker spelled out Aloysius. "What's this?" she asked, pointing. "I don't know, and I don't want to," Dash said. "I just want to get out of here." They continued on toward the staircase. "Dylan?" Dash called out. His voice echoed back at him, but no one answered. As they went around the next corner, Poppy yelped. Just ahead, lying on the floor in a sunbeam, was the same rabbit mask, still looking up with its blank eye holes. "What's going on?" she asked. "Crazy Poppy." "Dash, you see that too, right?" "I don't understand," said Dash slowly. He looked close to tears. "Dylan!" he called out again. He gathered himself together and quietly said, as if to himself, "It's got to be one of Dylan's tricks. He's messing with us." "After everything we've seen, you think your brother is responsible for this?" "I don't know what to think," Dash yelled. "I don't even know which direction to take." "Let's just keep going," said Poppy, but her feet felt unsteady. They walked on for a few minutes, far longer than it should have taken to find the staircase, and suddenly they were back in the same spot. Panic gripped Poppy's lungs, and she felt like she couldn't breathe. Dash rushed up and stomped on the rabbit mask until the plastic was smashed flat. The hallway shuddered and groaned. Dash grabbed Poppy's hands and brought her low to the floor as if they were bracing for an earthquake. "It's not happy you did that," Poppy whispered. "What's not happy?" Poppy didn't want to say it out loud. "I don't know. The house?" Inches away, the flattened rabbit mask popped back into shape. Poppy and Dash leapt to their feet and bolted around the corner and past the rabbit mask. There they found a new hallway, one they hadn't seen before. They ran and ran, looking for new doorways, new rooms, new details they hadn't yet encountered, anything to get them out of this strange loop. Poppy yanked Dash to a halt. "You hear that?" she asked, her chest heaving. "Music. Someone's playing a piano. Let's follow it. But what if it's... Just go!" Poppy and Dash raced around a bend, and the landing at the top of the stairs finally appeared. "Yes!" she shouted, feeling like she'd just won a marathon. Dash bolted past her, down the steps toward the foyer. "Hurry!" he shouted. Poppy didn't need him to tell her twice. When the two of them finally made it to the bottom of the stairs, a voice called out from up above, "Dash, wait!" Turning, they found Dylan standing on the landing, wide-eyed and unsteady. He looked like he was about to faint. "Oh my goodness," said Poppy, shaking her head confused. "I totally forgot Dylan was there too." "Help me," said Dash. Together, Poppy and Dash raced back up the stairs toward his brother. And that's the end for today. Come back tomorrow for more. Have a good night.